Hello and welcome back for another Film Room Sunday. My name is Cami. I'm the host of Backfield Media. I'm also the founder, so if you do have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments down below. So I'm going to start off with ODU's loss, which they did take another hit this season. So they took a hit at Huntington against Marshall with a win over 24 points away from ODU. So Marshall was the 2024 postseason winners at the SBC Championship. And some standouts from their team were Carlos Del Rio Wilson, their junior QB with 2 touchdown passes and who had ran for 2 scores. And then Boogie Trotter, a senior defensive back, also from Marshall. He had very big plays on defense with a pick off CJ1 with a pass in first quarter within the last 5 minutes. And then we also have 71 yards scoring pass to Trey Brown from CJ1 on 3rd and 15, tie 7-7 after the first quarter. And then moving forward, we also have some other standouts, such as Antoine Roberts who's a Marshall running back with first career touchdown. And then we also have DeMarcus Lacey with 52-yard game, who is a senior wide receiver at Marshall. So that's just a couple of standouts. And then just in terms of times of possession, we had Marshall with the upper hand as they were able to maintain that time and just maintain that advantage. Then we have ODU with 5 turnovers, but Marshall had a lot more penalties than ODU. And just looking down, the 4th down, ODU was at advantage, but in terms of rushing, Marshall was at the advantage. So it was really just a game of yardage and discipline. So while, as I will always say, in terms of the season, ODU does have a really great team, a really great bond. It's really just working on that discipline and just making sure that they maintain those possessions and really just making sure that they lessen those turnovers every single time. And so I do want to make some quick acknowledgments before going through the rest of the Swim Room Sunday. I do always see y'all, whether it is on Instagram or any other platform. I do recently see the ODU women basketball team, such as Samaru Fields, who's number 2, Hamaya Fielder, number 30, Anissa Hamad, who's at number 1. I cannot wait to see y'all this season. I do hope to come see some of your games and also just be able to ask y'all some questions eventually. And with the Utah UTs, who is a sophomore cornerback who had his 3 solo tackles with the Utah UTs, JC Hart, who has also been following me for quite some bit. Haven't had given him a formal acknowledgement on my Instagram page for like the player on the watch, but again, did just want to give out that acknowledgement. And really, at the end of the day, even if I don't post as much, even if I don't, like, let's say, post every week, as I do grow my team, that it is my job to tell your stories, athlete stories. If you do see this, that if you want me to tell it, I'm not limiting myself to the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And that's not to say that there isn't undercover talent within the DMV. There's always talent that's undiscovered everywhere. But again, I can't get to everyone's story if I can't really reach everyone or if I don't know who wants their story to be told. But again, my DMs are open to those opportunities. Just tell me time that you're available or a time that's good, whether it's in preseason, regular season, close by weeks, whatever it is. And also something that I'm really interested in is the JUCO products because I've always loved your stories, not even just from Last Chance U, but just that in general. Those stories, whether you have dropped out of those division schools to go into JUCO or you're going from JUCO to division, it doesn't matter. I do want to see and hear your stories and be able to share it. And then some other news, we have looked at Penn State head coach being fired this week, actually today, so, since it is a Film Room Sunday, and also Oregon State fired Trent Bay, which I think I wrote his name correctly. I hope so. But that's just some new news. And really, with that being said, I'm just going to turn it over into actually looking at stats and actually looking at players, aside from these few announcements and just these few key points. And so we're just going to do that now. And of course, as it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, you will see the ticker on the bottom with everything you need to know, everything just to be aware of, um, as we will be starting to do just about every month or every week or so. Every 1 week in a month, we'll have advocacy weeks. Again, sorry about if I'm tripping on my words, but these are just a few things that you can look forward to for volunteer opportunities or anything of that matter. And so let's just look at Utah again, because I don't think I stated any specifics for them. Of course, we always got Devin at QB doing his thing. I do want to make sure I get a good look at them. So, of course, with their time of possession, Utah had a very different storyline compared to the Monarchs, whereas they had very good control of the time of the game, although they didn't have any advantages within yardage or rushing or anything like that. So let's just take a look versus Arizona. And I'm glad to see that they only have one loss this season. So again, very happy with that. And of course, we have Devin Dampier within the two game leaders for passing yards and rushing yards. And now let's just take a look at our box score to see who we probably haven't covered yet. And we have Bryce again, who has gained 3 yards to add on to his touchdown. Jordan Tyson, I don't think we covered him before. And he is a wide receiver from Arizona State. Mainly just looking for Utah. But nothing against Arizona State, just preference in terms of coverage right now. And then we have Otto Tia, who is a tight end, who is a senior. So he had gained 2 receptions at 38 yards. And he had transferred to Utah for, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, his last season. And this would have been 238. So just look at his game time. This game 32. So he played 2 games with the Utah, and it doesn't look like he was in the game early. So definitely a transfer getting his time in. But as far as it looks like, he is definitely one of those players that didn't get to meet that, let's say, 1,000 yardage in terms of receiving up here, but definitely one that could come up to that, if given the more opportunities. But of course, that's very hard to say. And then we're gonna take a look at some other. And I know it looks like I'm just clicking around, but I promise you, I'm really looking. And also, Utah is back to 23 in the AP poll for the coach pool, as far as I remember. We got Jackson Benet up top again. Let's look for some of those undiscovered guys. So with that being said, I'm going to look more into their defense because without a good offense, well, without a good defense, you really can't have a great offense. We can agree to disagree depending on what you think. And then we have Jackson Benet up top, Smith Snowden climbing up in the ranks for defense. Don Saunders. He has one solo tackle, and that is against Arizona State. And so he's only played 2 seasons. Nope, 3 seasons. 4 seasons. Okay. But with that being said, Utah as is, they've been a really good team. In terms of keeping possessions, defense being very supportive and protecting their guys. So Devin Dampier has been very good with noticing the pockets and his openings to gain rushing yards. So he does have that power play. And now we are going to move into some K Battle Haze. And so they did get their first touchdown, and I believe in the first drive. Yep. With for that second at ASU 12. We're just gonna jump back to see what happened with just on the latest news, to be honest. So let's look at Penn State as we just spoke about briefly. And so he's getting a buyout according to his contract. And it's the second biggest buyout. So as a favorite team and as a favorite coaching, because of his losses, he got fired. And under his coaching, we had Saquon Barkley and Mike Parsons, very big names lately. And then just because of standards, it's just time for him to go. And so hopefully those players, whether they choose transfer or not, is for them. But again, just going to dip back into some other things before I end out this video. I know it's pretty slow, but we're just going to head in to this screen again. Before I do finish this out, I will say a big thank you to my supporters and those that have been helping me behind the scenes, such as Sports Plug, as our collaboration is very it's been very beneficial. And also just to my new buddies at Sports Plug, such as Ron, um, check on hands, um, Ron Don, Key, the creator, and Jen. So all those people there, big appreciation. I'm very glad to be working with a group such as you. Very appreciative to be within a group and be able to connect with those that you also connect with. So again, I did want to say that publicly, and also you'll will see and hear this in person. So big thank you, and you guys will see be seeing some more videos as time goes on after this fall break. I know I've been stuck with exams and stuff, but again, thank you for watching this film Sunday, and I'll see you all then. Bye.